Hello again, Dwarf fans. I've skipped ahead a little bit because it occurred to me that it's probably not very interesting to have prolonged periods of silence that I spend reading the Dwarf Fortress wiki to try and remember how to do literally everything in the game. So I've done a little bit of building and I'm going to show you around the current situation. So you might remember these combs I was digging out earlier, and what I was making here is bedrooms. Now they might not look particularly large bedrooms, being, as I call them, 1x4 dwarf holes, but they are everything that the dwarf requires. There is room for a bed, there is room for a door, and at some point in the future when I build them, there is space for cabinets and chests. Dwarfs love socks. Nobody knows why, but they really do love socks. And if they have a cabinet and a chest, they have somewhere to keep their socks. Otherwise, they're just prone to leave them all over the floor. Let's take a look at our dwarves. You might have noticed in the previous episode they were all flashing with big letter Zs. That's because they were tired. The reason they were tired is because they hadn't slept in months. Now they've got bedrooms and they can actually sleep, and they're all feeling a lot better about things. Let's have a look at this person. Kubuk Imesh Kilvard, the expedition leader. And there we have it. He is feeling happy about having a bed. He also enjoys having a door. You'll notice that I've put doors on all of the bedrooms. Dwarves enjoy having furniture, including doors. He is complaining about not being able to pray. Well, he can continue to complain for quite a long time. Religious facilities are way down my priority list at this point. He is unhappy about the lack of mugs, but I think that's pretty much a given. He's enjoyed sleeping. He enjoys work. He enjoys drinking. So it's clear that we still need to make some chairs and preferably some mugs as well. But the fact that we now have some beds has cheered everyone up considerably. Right. Let's look a little further up. We have both workshops built now, both with doors on. It's very important that all workshops have doors. The second stockpile is filling up, and it looks like we found something shiny. Rough sards. Now, it's a while since I've played this, and I'm a little rusty on my gemology, but sards might be some kind of gemstone, which could be something we can polish up later and shove on something to make it valuable. Now, over here we have something purple. That's a little more worrying. Purple generally means dead things. And in this case, it's a dead hamster. I distinctly remember one of my dwarves not liking hamsters, so this could be a problem. We also have rat remains. Oh, another dead hamster. With that in mind, I think it's time to build a refuse pile. Just a small heap outside. Doesn't need to be particularly big. This counts as a stockpile, and it's going to be a refuse stockpile. I'm just going to put it in there. That might seem like quite a lot of refuse, but you'd be amazed how much refuse you can end up needing. Done. With any luck, the dwarves will take all the dead hamsters outside. You can see I've also dismantled the wagon. You can get a little bit of extra wood out of that. It's not essential, but it's potentially useful. The dead hornbill is still there. So that's the current state of the fortress. So the next question is, what do I do next? Well, here's an area I've been working on, and this is a farm. Those large brown areas are the farm patches, and what they are growing, although you can't see at the moment, is a type of mushroom called plump helmets. Plump helmets are absolutely brilliant. Oh, there's one that's just grown, so you can see what it looks like. There's a dwarf planting plump helmet spawn. Plump helmets are good because you can both eat them and turn them into wine. And we are going to need a lot of alcohol in this fortress. So this seems like a good time to build a couple more workshops. What we're going to need is a craft dwarfs workshop. We are going to end up building a lot of these. And we're also going to need a still. Again, everything built out of dolomite as it's the standard rock. Right, let's set them going. They should be along to build our crafts dwarf workshop in a bit. Right, there is a dwarf with a rock. Dolomite is quite heavy. They walk a lot slower when carrying dolomite. And there he goes. Now, the big question, can I remember how to assign jobs to a workshop? At this precise moment, no, I can't. I knew how to do it yesterday, but now I've forgotten. One useful feature of this game is at a later stage you can start assigning people to jobs. You can see on the right we have a nobles and administrators list. Currently the only person we've got is the expedition leader. But you'll see on the list there is a manager. Managers need offices, and the manager makes assigning jobs a whole lot easier. I'm going to find someone to be the manager. Expedition leader, you're up. As you can see, he has some requirements. He wants an office. He has meagre quarters, but he is fine with that, so I need to build him an office. Now, dwarves are picky about buildings at times. Building a workshop in sand is completely fine, but something that's important to them, like an office, they expect it done properly. So, I'm going to make a very large and fancy office, because it's not what's in the office that matters, it's how big it is, at least at this stage. Dig out this area. Now the room above here is going to be a dining room. But for that I need chairs, which means I need our carpenter up again. And I have not remembered how to assign jobs again, but something has happened. We have had migrants arriving. They won't appear immediately, but somewhere on the edge of the map a bunch of extra dwarves have arrived. Hopefully they'll have useful skills. Let's unpause and let them come. Of course, now we've got migrants, we need more beds. Good news, the dead hamsters have been removed from the fortress. This is excellent. Dead animals can be a problem. They can start rotting, and then they smell, and then you get a fortress full of miasma, which is this big purple cloud that makes everybody unhappy. I have remembered how to add a task to a building. I am going to ask for beds. Lots of beds, and then I'm going to ask for chairs. Actually, I'm not going to ask for chairs. I'm going to move down to the mason's workshop. I'm going to ask for thrones. Because dwarves like thrones. There we are. Wood's okay for beds, and is in fact the only material you can make beds out of, except under some particularly bizarre circumstances. But what a dwarf really likes, of course, is rock. And we found a new kind of rock, lignite. Let's go and take a look. Yes, this is the kind of thing that gets dwarfs excited. But here we have a newly dug out room. They're just clearing out all the empty rocks, and as soon as I've got some chairs, I can start working on this. As you can see, I've dug out enough bedrooms that I can start expanding on my bedroom suite immediately. So, as you can see, I can't currently build a bed because I haven't got any beds. This can be confusing for new players, the fact that you need a bed to make a bed, but once you get the hang of the cycle, it all makes sense. Step 1, build a bed in the workshop. Step 2, place the bed in a room. Step 3, assign the room as a bedroom. Now, you might think that last step seems a little unnecessary, but believe me, dwarves will not figure out that a bed is a bedroom if you don't designate the room. So much industry is going on in here, but still nobody has built my still, and I have figured out the reason why. Or at least a possible reason. I'm not sure they can actually get into the room. Still, I'll give them a bit longer and see if they figure it out. You never know. We have plenty of rocks up here. And some bad news. The stray ewe, tame, has been found starved to death. I've done my best here. I tried to make a pasture for them so that they'd have somewhere to go and eat grass, but apparently not enough. But on the plus side, someone has made a really nice chair. As chairs go, it's probably not too thrilling at this stage, but well, you never know. Let's see if there's any particularly interesting chairs. These are pretty good chairs. This is an excellent chair. Let's have a look at it. Yep, it's a chair and it's grey. Not a very exciting chair, but hopefully we'll get some thrilling chairs later on. Anyway, I'm going to show you the process of creating a bedroom. Now we've got some beds made up. So, B for building, then B for bed. And we can place a bed here. And just going to fill the rest in. So you can see we can select from a variety of beds. We have multiple different types of wood. Tower caps is not wood at all, it's actually giant mushrooms. But it can give a nice varied tone when some of your beds are a weird grey colour because they're made of mushroom instead of wood. One of the first fortresses I ever made, they found a sulphur deposit and used it to make tables. The dining room was very, very colourful. As you can see, they are now bringing in the beds. I'm going to have to make some more doors for this lot later. That's all of them. So now we can actually turn them into bedrooms, for which we press, not that, we press Q. I don't know why. Anyway. Make bedroom R. It's selected what it thinks is a sensible area for the room, and I agree with it, so we'll take that. You can expand rooms where necessary. Now you can assign beds to people, but I'm not going to. There's a fairly small number of dwarves at the moment. They'll just find a bed wherever's free. The only time I ever really want to assign beds is when I'm making a fancy office for a noble who's demanding it. As you can see, you can also build barracks or dormitory, but dwarves prefer having their own bedroom. And it's not that much extra effort to do. So So we now have our extended bedroom, and the stray horse is starved to death. I really tried with the animals, I'm just not good at it. Good news, the brewery has been found. So I'm going to queue up a few more jobs in the crafts Dwarfs workshop. We are going to work with rock, and we are going to make... Well, first of all, we're going to make mugs. Now, I don't want to repeat that infinitely, that would be inconvenient. That's a decent number of mugs. Now we're going to make some rock pots. Not very many, but rock pots are what you keep beer in. And they can also be quite valuable. And they have the additional bonus of not being made of wood. Now, there are two reasons you don't want things made of wood. One is that dwarves just like rocks. The other reason is that at some point we're going to try and sell things to elves. And elves are the worst. Elves, they are basically tree fascists. When they show up, they are going to have a massive whinge at me for the amount of trees I've cut down, which will be a lot more by the time they show up, and then refuse to buy anything made of trees. They will not balk at selling me things made of trees. Apparently it's perfectly alright when they do it, but I'm not allowed to make things out of trees, and they will leave in a huff if I try to sell them beer in a wooden barrel. However, they will happily buy it in a rock pot, so I exclusively use rock pots to keep my beer in. We should have a few mugs now, which should alleviate unhappy thoughts about not having a mug, and very soon we can start brewing our own beer. However, I think that's enough dwarves for one night, so I will leave it there and see you next time.